Welcome to Total Sports with Ali and Sam. We are joined by Kingsthorpe Mavs manager Ash Scott. Ali, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. Busy but good. But we both know that we've got some big podcasts coming up on the horizon. But for
Yes.
now, we'll introduce Ash Scott from Kingsthorpe Mavs. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Busy time, innit?
Oh, mate, isn't it just? Isn't it just? I didn't realise how much so when you take control of a club at kind of Sunday League level. A lot of behind the scenes stuff that I wasn't aware of. But I'm sure you'll help me out with some of that in a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with your footballing journey, Ash. So talk us through it.
Yeah, man. So I started playing Sunday League football. It seems like a dawn of time now. When I was 16, I went straight into it from youth football. I a few of the mates went to like under 17s, under 18s, and it was just naff. Whereas I was like spindly but floppy haired fullback who liked kicking people basically. And liked really annoying blokes double my size for things. So I did that until I went off to uni, and then basically just didn't play. Played a bit of like into uni stuff, but up in Liverpool, like where I was for uni, the league so spread that I just didn't do anything. Came back sort of 2017, me and my then partner moved back to Northampton, and I got involved a little while later with the Obelisk boys. So I know Ash Fox that way, obviously mutual friend of ours. Played with them for a while, was in and out because basically I've always been the only person running team. Like I've kind of never had a clique or a group, which is fine, but leaves you a little on the outside of everything. And then sort of moved over to Roochers as it was then. Mad name. And bust up my knee. Decided to bust my knee up the September after the resumption. So we had the COVID-19 break. Came back in 2020 for that first month of the season. And having had no serious injuries in my life, I decided to do my ACL, my MCL, and the tendon that held my kneecap in place.
Oh, how long were you out with that?
Well, my operation took 3 years with fourth time lucky, fourth schedule, because of all the COVID outbreaks and stuff. And I've basically not played. I played an hour last year against Sands. Half an hour last year against Sands and 45 minutes against Amy Straight because they're the team I did my knee against. The worst bit of it all is we're 8-0 up, cruising. I've dropped into midfield, and yeah, no one anywhere near me. In on goal, got this Thierry Henry vision, cut across my left, bend it. But my left foot plants on the ball, and that was it. That was it. The end of the day. So then anyway, so a couple of years out, and I'm bored.
Aim Straight get a point out that game, did they? Because it was a postponement, yeah.
Nah, mate, they played on. The lads nearly played on round me. It took 2 minutes for anyone to realise. Lad who I was centre half with first half just turned around and went, boys, I think he's actually hurt. Yeah, we're 8-0 up and I haven't moved, man. My kneecap's on the side of my leg. Like, yeah, I'm hurt. So I was just around it a lot. And I was like, look, when I could walk again, I was like, if you want me to put some training and stuff on, like my old man around teams, we came up through kind of Gregory Selwick youth. So I've had a good underpinning. I was like, yeah, I'll do some training. Like, let's get some stuff together. And then basically when the old manager had a kid, got really busy, took it on, and I said, if I'm taking it on, things are changing, and I try and run it like a proper club, even though it's a Sunday League club. Hence the rebrand, hence the kind of development from there. And then, yeah, like you say, things start popping up. You're like, oh, I didn't know this was a part of my job. This is fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of those roles that seem to pop up in the short space of time that I've been involved with club ownership and stuff. So the Mavs themselves, is that your concept that you come up with, or was that a club that you took over?
No, so the Roochers, basically, when we took the Roochers on, I took it on with my colleague Ollie, who this year will be running the seconds. We sort of took it over full time, having been doing the coaching and a bit of match day stuff anyway. And I said, the branding is pointless. Like, we can't get any real sponsorship in. Roochers doesn't mean anything. It's done, basically. We need something better. And we sat down, I had a proper AGM, got all the boys together and said, look, if you want to be part of the club, let's make it your club. What ideas have we got? What names have we got? And I think Ollie said Mavericks is a bit of a joke, really, and it just took off. But I'm quite conceptual, so I do a lot of the marketing stuff, so I now teach business and marketing.
Hmm.
So a lot of my kind of natural thing is that, and that's because I see concepts. So as soon as they said it, I had a bit of a sketch of like the badge, and my partner's the artist who does all our artwork. So it helps to have that kind of I can do it, but I draw like a 3-year-old. So if I can give it to an actual artist, yeah, and it all worked quite nice. And then basically it spiraled quite quickly. From there, I had the badge, and then we have Mav of the matches, because the puns just work. And yeah, it's kind of gone from there really. And you'll see there's a Mav behind me that someone got with one of the lads' partners painted for my 30th birthday. Um, 9 of the lads have got cuddly Mav toys. It's mad.
Yeah, we've
Did
seen
you
that
ever,
cuddly that toy make its way around a few different places.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my two come with me everywhere we go. And yeah, as I say, 9 of the lads have now got ones. One of the lads has it in his car every week. It's mad.
Ash, did you ever expect it to be this big? Like like Mavericks as a whole?
No, the reason we needed a rebrand is it needed to. So our like the last badge we played under when we were Roochers was a rugby player. Like it was someone stood on a ball, but it wasn't even a football. Like it, and the picture on the Nene Sunday League. And this isn't it's a slight baldy. Like he's a great dude, but like it was a picture of the badge. Picture of the badges really annoy me as a general rule. If you have a badge properly, um, but it just needed redoing, and the club had no money. Like there was no real kits that like kits were odds and sods. It was like if I'm going to run it properly, we need to get some financing. We need to try and get some sponsorship on board. We need to try and change the face a little bit of the club. Um, so it just needed to be different, and it just needed to be something that you could say to somebody, "This is who we are." And even if it gets a bit of a laugh, fine. And it did. It did get a bit of a laugh. And no, I didn't really. I mean, but everyone, and that's the boys really. Like they give me a lot of credit for it, and I appreciate it. But it's the little things. We're able to train throughout the winter still on the park because we've got our own floodlights, like portable ones. So that means you can keep training on, or lads aren't having to pay £10 for an evening training. So the group are all still together in the winter.
I was at the AGM the other day, and your second team has got a different name. Explain it. Go on.
I'll go with the name first. Kingsthorpe Mavericks Udders. From our branding, it'll be the Udder Kingsthorpe Mavericks.
How did I know that was going to happen? I could just feel it. As soon as you said it out loud and you were chuckling, as soon as they said it out loud in the AGM, I knew that would be your branding for that.
Yeah. But the thing is, right, so it's twofold. Firstly, it's not as simple as to say they're going to be a reserve side. We don't, obviously, you guys know my team fairly well. We've got a nice mix of boys. We've played a lot of mixed games at the moment. And the ability level is quite consistent. There are obviously some lads who've come from higher levels and played at better things, but generally across the squad, like me and Ollie are sitting down as we record this, but it has been done by I think we're sitting down on the Sunday to thresh out the squads, and it's gonna be mad because we're already having little rows in our little management chat about players, and that's because of the ability. So it's not a second team. Also, because of the way you have to register 2 separate teams anyway, it's not a true reserves. Like your background in football, Sam, you're probably the same as me, right? You're from when a reserve team was a reserve team. You could play between the two. It isn't now. So we very quickly decided we didn't want that. We considered kind of yellows and greens and that kind of approach. And I was like, no, it's just the others. They're not seconds, they're just an others. And then once I said that out loud, it was there. And I said it to Matt Hurst. He replied, "Are you joking?" And I said, "No." And we sat on it then until they announced it at the AGM, and everyone just laughed. So there you go.
Oh yeah, it was class. It was class, and the fact that I think you're going to get a lot of laughs from that, and I think it's such a great marketing ploy. So like all the publicity is good publicity, good or bad, and the fact that every time I see it pop up, like I'm going to giggle. I can feel it already. Do you know what I'm saying? And the fact that I'm sure I won't be the only one, and you guys are quite social media heavy like ourselves. So you pop up a lot already. So the fact you'll pop up a lot more with that name is going to be hilariously funny.
Yeah, there's no other team that are going to be the others, right? So yeah, it's just a way of getting out there, and yeah, it leans into everything we do. We run it very seriously, but try not to take ourselves too seriously, and that's kind of the vibes.
Welcome back to Total Sports with Ali and Sam. We're still here with Ash Scott. So, Ash, let's talk a little bit on last season. 7th in League 4. Tell us a bit about it.
It's weird. Yeah, 7th is a strange thing. League 4 last year was quite a split league. And I'm sure the teams at the bottom end of League 4 aren't going to mind my saying that. It was almost a league within a league. We finished 7th and we were 5 points off the top. We had one bad month all season. It was actually after I went on the leagues podcast, so I'm a little nervous. This is why if I ruin pre-season, it's fine. But no, literally we had a bad October and finished 5 points off. When they flipped the fixtures back over and had the League Cup, we finished 3rd, which again is much more in line with where I thought we were compared to a lot of the other teams. It was a strange year, really.
Some good players in that league, though. So I reffed a few games in that league last season, trying to get up to the qualification of the ref. And obviously there's the obvious two that we won't talk about that get pumped every week. But like there is some really good players within that league. Like I was really surprised to see the quality of that league after being told, oh yeah, these teams get pumped this amount, these teams get pumped this amount.
Yeah, it was a weird one. So the two lads who scored like 60 goals apiece, you got Owen over at Rothwell, who from my understanding was with Corby first the year before, shouldn't really be in a League 4 team. When there's 3 other Corby lads there as well. Mad. And Sean Wilkes over at Footballers, who scored goals basically at UCL level for donkeys. But we played them that day, and you know, he is their main asset. So like that's why they were in the league. So fine, it makes sense. Otherwise, really, yeah. I mean, Aim Straight and Phoenix got better. Certainly when I saw them early doors in the season, when I saw them later on, like all those teams at the bottom end improved and started to take some points off each other. But from 9th upwards, kind of your cricks, everyone was taking points off everyone else. To sum it up, in the League Cup game, the very first game of the League Cup, we went over to Weekly, who were the best football inside in our division. And we were 2-1 up at the time, and their gaffer Ed won't mind me saying, he texted me after the game saying, I thought you'd done us on the wind in the second half with how we played. We just had a stinker, and that's what I won. Like, it was one of those leagues where you basically have one good half football or one bad half football, and that was it. You were done. So it's strange. And as I say, you know, the Hackett boys, I've got a lot of time for them. We've played them every pre-season for the past 4 years. We've got a really good relationship with them as a club. They won the league, and I don't think Mark and Smithy could quite believe that they'd won that league from the way that season had gone. It was really weird. So
looking at your squad from last season, have you made any additions to the squad that are going to strengthen you, or have you lost a few boys or anything like that?
So the reason we've gone to 2 teams, I had 24 available most weeks last season, which when I say this to people from higher up, they can't believe it. But again, all the things we spoke about, being able to train regularly, being able to have that sort of social media presence and stuff, lads want to be involved. So to double up, I was a little worried that this year was too premature to go to 2 teams. It was voted in at our AGM, and I'll say against my will. Like I indicated that I wasn't in favour of it this season, just because it was a stretch. Now there was some talk of merging with our mate Foxy over at Pittsford and those boys coming over. It never really happened. He left me a little bit high and dry there. It's not his fault. There's some things that went down. But I was then nervous that we were going to get 13 lads from them. And I'd seen them play, and we'd had conversations, Foxy and I, and said, it's going to be a fresh assessment. If they come in, there's not everyone in your first 11 who I would start over some of the lads I've got. And vice versa. And that's what I would say. From the top end of League 4 to the bottom end of League 2, like we obviously played Boughton reserves last year. We had 6 1-on-1s. They scored with their 1 of 2 shots. Like I write all the chances down because I've got a memory problem. So I was counting it after. I was like, this is mental. We beat Toe Valley. Like the teams at that bottom end of League 2 to top end of League 4, there's no real difference. So we've got some lads who've come down from that level. A few boys have come to us from higher teams. So they'll obviously form some of the first. But I'm going to be taking sort of 10 lads forward probably that I had last year. And what I will say is no one's come in right at the bottom. All of our new players have come in, even the ones who we think are likely to play in our udders team, they're coming in at the mid-level or the top level of that side. So it's been a real like nice evolution and nice development really from that position. But we've got 2 or 3 from everywhere. Instead of what I was worried about, if we merge with a team, you've got 13 lads coming in, and then suddenly you're saying to them, well, actually, I know you might have played for these in that division last year, but this year, I think I've got a better option, vice versa. It's quite natural to go to 2 or 3 lads. Well, actually, look, this is where you guys are going, or we might have to split you 2 and 2 if there's a 4, you know, and go that way. So yeah, we're looking at two really, really strong teams. We've merged for the July. We wanted to kind of play mixed teams for July. Two reasons. Firstly, people are away in July. Teams are short. You probably find this yourself. The other thing is we wanted to assess the squad properly. And what I will say is no one's been able to look at our squads and say that player's definitely a second player or that player's definitely.
I don't know. I've seen Ash Fox. He's definitely a second player.
He's still moaning. He cut his legs up on Sunday. Bless him on the Astro. He's still trying to cry that one off.
Oh, bless him. Bless him. I think he's coming.
Pictures of his scars.
He's coming on to our show soon, so be sure to lever him a little bit before he does come on.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good year. We're really excited. Like I got a bit of a tongue lashing at the AGM from the league guys who said, "Oh, well, you playing mixed friendlies isn't useful to us." I said, "Well, it's useful to me." So respectfully, like I get it, but I've not put any of our results in the thing for that reason because I know it's not useful to them to assess. But I said, look, if you want my honest assessment, I'll tell you. I imagine our twos will be a similar ability to our squad last year, if not slightly better, to be honest. And yeah, that first squad, probably the league above. Certainly some of the teams that we faced from that division above, two divisions above, like we'd have held our own with. And it's just who's available on the day, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I suppose that's a good problem to have, though. If you've got two teams that are the same ability, you'd rather have that than one team that's like, that's definitely a second team, and that's definitely a first team, than just have it that way.
I think so. It's obviously hard with moving people between teams, right? And not being able to kind of freely run it as you can play for this and play for that. But there are 4 or 5 lads who we've sort of openly said, and I've had conversations with them, and I said, look, ability-wise, you can play. If I get put in Division 2 with my like first 11, like you could be in that. Like ability-wise, fine. But perhaps you'll benefit from regular football every week by having that ability to drop a player in and get them minutes. And the other thing that we will have this year that we haven't had previously is we've had a lot of injuries, and we've sort of done that dance of when you rush players back. Whereas actually the one thing I will say about the league rule this season is if they haven't played for that first team, quote unquote, for 3 weeks, they can play separately to the kind of one player restriction down the level. So you can kind of bed them in a little bit more of an easier game and get their rhythm back in, which is nice. So it's almost reverse mine and Ollie's thinking from perhaps he's going to have a bigger squad to actually perhaps it makes more sense for more players to be signed on for the Mavs team and then play for the others.
What's your ambition for the both teams? Where would you like them?
We want to be challenging both teams to be challenging the top of the league, but obviously that depends where you're put. If put it this way, when the league came out last season, and I saw the teams involved, and at the time, Weekly weren't in it. Weekly were in League 3 and Eastern were in League 4, and they changed that after the cup games. And I looked at this thing, and realistically, I got the thing come through. With Ollie, I was with Ollie and with my club captain, Mez, and we looked at it, and I said 5th. I said there are 4 teams there who I expected to be beyond our level at this point. And when you say it's 5th and then it's a 7th place and a 3rd place, actually, I have quite a good gauge, right? And if that league was again, yeah, you'd be looking at top 4 because then it's you got a lad who scores 60 goals. That makes a bit of a difference. We got a lad who misses 60 chances. One of my boys got I won't out him on the podcast, bless him, but he got a couldn't hit a cow's backside trophy. It was a little banjo. That was our one of our end of season awards.
You're really going with this cow theme, aren't you?
I wanted footy awards get lobbed on the back of a cupboard, don't they? Because your missus goes, they're a piece of tat, like bang it away. Whereas these are like actual ornaments that people can have out of it. So
next season is shaping up to be a good one for you lot then.
Yeah, we're really optimistic. Like as I said, when we were first talking about merging, I was really in favour, and Ollie was quite against in terms of it being very soon, it still being quite new. By the time we got to the OGM, that had reversed. And yeah, so we trained right the way until the middle of June. I gave lads a 3-week break. And that meant some lads could come in at the back end of last season. So 4 or 5 of the new signings have been training with us now for a month and a half. We've been playing games since the middle of July. Suddenly lads have had 4 or 5 weeks in. They feel like they're part of a club. And that's without a discussion of what team am I playing for, this, that, and the other. So yeah, it now is really exciting that by the end of July, like as I sit here today, I have enough already. I'm still waiting on a couple of lads to move their account over on the Nene system. I've got like 47 people on my system. It's nice. Taken care of. Like in terms of the registration side of things, I don't have to force anything. which means then my focus and Ollie's focus can be on the games. And as of sort of next week's fixtures, so not the ones coming up on Sunday as we record, but probably from when this gets released that week onwards, we will be in our two teams. We will be playing as a squad and give lads 4 or 5 weeks before the start of the season to get used to playing with the combinations you're actually going to be making. All playing in the same way, all kind of working on what we work on in training as a club. So yeah, I'm buzzing. Like I'm really excited to kick it off now.
As a club, do you work on the same philosophies and positions? So do both your teams play the same type of football? Do they both play the same formations?
Yeah, philosophies. I don't know if I necessarily call it a philosophy. I plan all the trainings, and we're sticking to training together and everything being one, right? So from that perspective, yes. I got a lot of flack beginning of last season when I tried to sort of change it a little bit and be a bit more what you call progressive. But it wasn't some sort of pragmatic philosophical thing. It was that the average age of my squad was 33, and it made sense for us to have the ball more than we were chasing the ball. Like I just wanted my lads to be fitter and have more energy. But I've got lads who've never really been like one of my captain G. Won't mind my saying he's a headed kick at centre half who in the first preseason game against Vips dropped his shoulder, played a 1-2 and went around the corner. Like and seeing that from my perspective is great, and just trying to have a little bit more control of the ball and not play in moments, which I think the club had probably done in the past. Just gives you a better chance. And we want that to kind of be right the way through the club, because basically it's just a lot more entertaining for lads to win. Like lads don't come to football to just chase lost causes and whack it in the corner and see what happens. But yeah, whether I'd call it a philosophy, I don't know. But I certainly I plan all my drills properly. I take proper professional drills and break them down and stuff. So yeah, we try and do everything as I say, as you would run a normal club, even though it's Sunday. Because I hate the it's just Sunday League kind of mentality. It annoyed me when I played because I want to win things, even if it's Sunday League. So the more effort you put in, the more you get out, really.
So Ash, you've spoken a lot about the social media side. Is there anything else you wanted to add on, like social media, sponsorships, or anything like that?
We make a big deal of our social side of things. It's kind of it's what I enjoy about the club. And obviously we've spoken about like riffing on the cow stuff. So I just want to shout out first of all my partner Sadie and Follow the Loud, who do all our artwork. Because everything we do is bespoke. It's club specifically designed, and we've got a new kind of game profile this year, which is fresh. And then the other thing that we do with the socials, and it's just a chance and a little bit of a shameless plug, really. We do player sponsorships. So every player we try and assign a specific sponsor throughout the season. It's just £20 for the whole season. And basically any media that focuses that player, whether it's game posts, post-match interviews, clips, photos, will be a chance for shouting out of businesses, podcasts, local creatives, any cause that you've got. So if that is something that interests you, do just get over to at Kingsthorpe Mavs on Instagram or Kingsthorpe Mavericks on Facebook and give us a shout, and we'll kind of set you up from there. But it's just a good opportunity for local businesses. We've got some guys who've stayed with us, and everyone gets invited to our end of season dues and proper functions as well. So yeah, it's a lot there for nothing really, for 20 quid. It's, it's a good option just to try and build our place in the community, because we want to be the community club. We have our base down at the Queen Adelaide, who have been really, really good for us and are coming on board in a more formal way this year as well. And yeah, we are a community club in Kingsthorpe, but also in Northampton, and that's kind of what we want to put out there.
Just to confirm, can you tell us, Ash, where to find you guys again on your socials?
Yeah, so at Kingsthorpe Mavs on Instagram and Kingsthorpe Mavericks on Facebook, and you'll find us there. And yeah, come see what we're about.
Superb. And I'm sure we'll catch up again with you during the season. But for now, we appreciate your time, and we'll speak to you shortly.
Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Yes. Thank you.